Good evening, good afternoon for everyone. This is Alejandro Feje speaking. I give you a kind welcome to this new edition of ICC webinars. Today we are sharing a very interesting topic on tips for high-impact executive coaching. So what would be the difference that makes the difference on executive coaching? I think this is something that we will see during the webinar with Guillermo today. So we have our guest today is Guillermo, as I said, Guillermo Mendoza. He's an ICC trainer from United States. He works in Houston. He really contributes to development of executive and businesses, and he's really focused and dedicated to execution. He's focusing on making the things truly happen in organizations and move really effectively towards goals and concrete results. He, as I said, is certified trainer and coach by ICC, and he's also a member of ASTD, American Society of Training and Development, in Houston chapter. He worked for several years in Microsoft, developing a really great career as general manager in the Caribbean and Central regions, including subsidiaries in Costa Rica and Guatemala and Panama. So I leave you now in company of Guillermo, and so we can make the start of the webinar, and I'm sure you will enjoy this experience today. Welcome, Guillermo. Do you hear us?
Thank you, Alejandro. Yeah, thank you, Alejandro. Good afternoon, everybody, and good evening in Europe. I'm very happy to be here again presenting a webinar for the international coaching community. And our topic today is tips for high-impact executive coaching. I like to believe that as we have been trained and certified as coaches, we are accumulating a set of tools, our toolbox to do our work. And many of us like to have continuous training in the form of webinars, summits, additional certifications. And what we are doing is accumulating more and more tools to be more effective in our work. Our presentation today is about how we can organize some of the tools and some of the processes and materials that we use around a cycle that is the best way to achieve results with executives in the corporations. And of course, everybody has a different style. Everybody has a different, sometimes a different style of the certification or coach trainer that get him or get her certified. So we all have different experiences and knowledge. So my goals today is first to share a vision on executive coaching with you, the way that I have been organizing my own set of tools around helping executives in corporations. Give you some tips along the way on this model. But another very important goal on this webinar is that we will have it very interactive. Along the webinar, we will be asking some questions, and you will have the chance to participate, writing words or phrases in the chat box on your right, so we can share ideas among ourselves on what is most important each step of the way when we are helping our clients. So let's start by asking all of you, we have more than 50 participants now in the webinar, if you can please share in the chat box in one word, what is the most important factor in executive coaching? What do you think is the most important thing for a coach when working with a client, an executive in a corporation, to improve him or improve her? Just write in the chat box your ideas, and we can share some comments among ourselves. Alejandro, are you seeing any comments yet or not?
Yes, they are arriving. Here we have, if you want, I can read them.
I don't see I'm not seeing that in my chat window.
Okay, it's in the question window. Probably you have it there.
Let me check. Okay. Yeah, I have some comments here. Okay, gain confidence from our clients. is one that I got here. Results, confidentiality, trust, efficiency, time, connection, communication and leadership, transformation, results. Okay, those are the ideas that the participants are sharing so far. Healthy results, sustainability, inspiration, commitment, vision. Okay, well, let's move forward. The model that I want to share with you today, it's a model where I have set like 4 phases or 4 stages when working with executives. The stages that I have defined to group our tools are knowledge, purpose, plan, and accountability. And we will see the detail on each of these, and I have defined 3 or 5 elements in each one of these that we can use from our toolbox, or we can have as a good practice or best practice to help our clients. To me, the starting point is knowledge, and when I talk about knowledge, I see knowledge as work where the client and the coach work together to make sense of what is the starting point and what is the final goal. So it's when we use our powerful questions to explore and to get to know our client, but most important, we ask the right questions to get our client to know himself or herself. So before proceeding on the elements of knowledge, I would like you to work in one phrase again. What is the most important factor on knowing our client, or on helping him or helping her know himself or herself? What do you think is the key element for this? I am getting answers like insight, share the knowledge. So some of the opinions from the coaches in the audience is getting insight, sharing the knowledge, open mindfulness, learn to listen to himself. That's a good word for self-reflection. How to start coaching, ask the right questions, rapport and trust, questions, self-knowledge, don't judge, another one that it's very important. Okay, and help him know himself through reflexive process. Okay, all very good ideas and practices that we have experienced. Asking what's going on, know himself, what is his or her objective. Okay, let's move along. To me, knowledge is about gaining consciousness. To me, the most important element in this stage or in this phase of knowledge, that to me is the first one, is to help our client know himself, gain consciousness. And for that, I have used 3 elements with my clients that have helped me to achieve this goal. The first one is, of course, the use of our powerful questions. But what it's important here is that I start by asking powerful life questions. Even if I've been hired by a corporation to work on an executive, on his performance, or on a specific problem at the job, I start by asking about life, because even when we spend a third of our day in our jobs or companies or professions, everything that we do there is related to our like, our passion, but also is with a purpose that will be achieved out of the job, with our families, with our personal development, with our personal realization and things that will be self-rewarding. So to me, it's very important to explore first with powerful life questions, and also to explore as a second element what is the passion and commitment to the role that this executive is having in that organization. Last but not least, make him aware or make him more conscious of what is the highest contribution. On defining what would be in the best version of themselves, what would be that dream version, what will shape him or shape her that executive as the top contributor in an organization. So for these elements, I start with this life questions to know the client and help him know himself. And I explore what is his passion and commitment and what is his highest contribution. And some of the important questions that I use is, what is your life about? What are you here for? What is your passion? Now let me share with you that when I start my very first session with a client on what is your life about, or what are you expecting from life, or what are you doing with your life, the most common answer, I can say that it's 80% of the times, is it's about happiness. I want to be happy, or I want my family to be happy, or I want to have a happy life. And that's when we need to, as coaches, continue exploring, because happiness is a very subjective concept. Happiness is very different from person to person. Actually, every single human being has a different version of what happiness means, or what is giving her or giving him happiness. So to me, it's very important when I get that answer 80% of the times is continue exploring, okay, what gives you happiness? What is the key element in your family, in your work, in your passion that is giving you happiness? And what are you doing all of these? What do you want to achieve in your life? So all these questions that are not related to work yet, are not related to the performance at the corporation, are very important, because are the starting point, as I said, to know what is the actual picture, where we are, and what we want to achieve as the best version of the client. But also it's an opportunity for me to know my client, but I think the most important element, as I said, is consciousness. These are powerful questions to make our client more aware of what is the real value behind the goals that they want to achieve. What are her core values or his core values on what they want from life, and how that relates to the work they are doing in an organization. Let's continue with this by asking a little survey from the attendants here. Alejandro, if you can help me with this. I have a question for the attendees, and it's, can you have good performance without passion? And you have three options to answer. It's either yes, no, or maybe it depends. I will share my vision on how passion relates to performance and executive coaching in a minute with you. You might agree or disagree, but before that I want to get a sense of what is the idea in the audience in terms of passion as an element for good or extraordinary performance.
Great, so the survey is on screen. You just need to click on the word yes, no, maybe, and this gives us your feedback. So a few seconds more, so everyone has time to vote, and then we share the results. A few seconds more. I think we can share the results now.
Yeah, we have more than 80% of the audience already answered.
Yes, so the 59% says that it's not possible to have good performance without passion. The answer is a no. The other group, it's about the maybe. It's the 37 that says maybe it depends, and a yes, it's for the 4%.
Okay. So, like almost 2/3 of the audience believes that passion is a key element for high performance, and 37, it depends on other conditions, and 4% doesn't seem to believe that passion is a key element for performance. Well, let me share my a little graph that I created to trying to explain what is my vision on the passion relationship to performance. To me, passion equals performance, and I created this graphic with 4 different scenarios. Somebody that is really passionate about what they are doing in their jobs, in their roles in the organization. Somebody that likes what they do. I like my job, I like my position, I like my daily activities, but it's not my passion. Somebody that doesn't care. I don't like it or dislike it. It's simply my job and I have to do it. and somebody that $50 to $25 or to 10% of passion. And then I am adding a couple of elements that I believe are very important in performance, and one is the commitment to the job that we have at hand, the commitment to results and to getting what is expected from me in my organization, and also the attitude I have to my job, the positive attitude or negative attitude that I can have to the role that I have been assigned in my organization. And I created this way just as a way to illustrate what I believe on the relationship of passion with performance. If we look at the far right to the scenario where we have 100% passion, somebody that really loves what she's doing or he's doing, and when we add to that extreme passion, the attitude and the commitment is when I believe we have extraordinary performance. It's when we get more than 100% from people, because I believe that when passion is combined with those other elements, along with the passion are adding for an extraordinary performance. Now let's move a bar to the left, and when somebody likes what they do, but they are not really passionate about it, I believe that in some cases, if you have the element of attitude and the element of commitment, those might help you to overcome your lack of passion a little bit, and maybe you have a good performance. Maybe you have 100%. So my belief is that if the person is not really passionate about what she or he is doing, yes, they might get to 100%. Maybe they can give you a performance, what I call the ordinary performance. It's 100% because they overcome the lack of passion with attitude and commitment. But they cannot have an extraordinary performance. And then when you move more to the left, with the people that is neutral to their like or dislike of their role in the organization, or when people is in a position that they don't really like, that they hate what they are doing, of course the passion will drop to lower levels. And even when you maintain the same attitude and commitment, my belief, my theory is that they don't reach even the ordinary performance. Is when we have people that is performing below the acceptable levels because they are lacking the passion. And in those two columns to the left is when I believe that no matter how strong is the attitude or the commitment, you won't have the results because you don't have the passion. So to me, I agree with the 60% of the people in the audience that passion is a key element of performance, and passion equals performance. And this is just a little model that I created to explain that to people and to make people understand that it's not, you won't overcome your lack of passion with other elements. It's a key ingredient to extraordinary performance. Let's move along. To me, then, when you have that passion for what you're doing and you get to this point where you love what you do and you do what you love, then he or she who pursues his goal in life by working on his passion every day, it's a top contributor. It's people that is giving extraordinary performance to the organization and getting the best results. And I once write a quote in my Twitter or Facebook account, and I wrote, the right profession is the one that lets you give the greatest contributions to your organization while you are having a passionate day at work. And when we work with clients in executive coaching and we make them understand that they need to link passion, attitude, and commitment with the results, they can have extraordinary performance. But if not, they won't get there. It's a key element for me. Now, the second stage of this model, once we worked with the knowledge and we worked on knowing our client, on helping her know herself better, on helping know what is the highest contribution that they can give to the organization, and also to understand what is the level of passion, the level of commitment, the level of attitude. Those things are, in this stage one, is just exploration. It's just an exploration of our actual picture, and our ideal picture of a best version of the client. Now, when we move to stage 2, to the purpose, we start by defining some other things to work on and start moving from the actual situation to the ideal situation. And before moving to the elements in the purpose stage, I would like the audience to share, what do you think, in one phrase, what is the most important factor on defining purpose or on defining goals for our client? What is what you consider the most important elements? Let's share ideas here among colleagues and other coaches. Level. So I'm getting here let's see. I'm getting here to ask the client, connect to the highest goal, motivation. How would you be comfortable with yourself? Vision, motivation, passion, definition and direction. Define picture of future grounded in present. What is your driver? Values, motivation and focus, reason of living, his and her dreams, allow him to envision his future. Purpose is a meta driver for all achievements. Dreams, motivational values for. Okay, I hope you guys are taking some ideas and notes from colleagues. The idea of these questions is that we all share experiences and ideas, and not just my model on best practices of executive coaching. So all the phrases that you write here and words, I read them for the benefit of all the attendees to the webinar. Okay, let's move forward then. The elements that I have on purpose is, to me, purpose is about defining an undivided attention to a goal. Because when I have been more successful with executive and coaching is when I help my client to do the most important thing, to do the most important change or the most important element that will bring him or bring her results. Some of the, in times when I have not been discipline as a coach on getting my client to focus on a single high impact goal, then his attention and his energy get divided and they don't get the same results. It gets diluted and the movement is slower. They are reaching their goals in a slower way that doesn't help to the process. So to me, on purpose, it's about 3 key elements, and it's what the client needs to maintain, what he or she needs to eliminate, and what he or she needs to change. So once they define, as you mentioned, the goal, the dream, the driver, the vision, the purpose, etc., it's about, from again, self-knowledge on understanding what are the best practices, what are the behaviors that I need to maintain to be successful with my executive role in the organization, what are the things that might work better if I eliminate them, and what are the things that I need to change. And for this, always the use of a 360 assessment is very useful, because we get feedback from peers, from the supervisor, from the team members in the organization, and that's very useful to help the client gain awareness on what are the best practices or behavior that he has that are having a good result and that he needs to continue doing the same things, but also what are the things that are stopping his growth. And I guess maybe many of you have read already a book from Marshall Goldsmith, but for those of you that haven't, I want to recommend an excellent book here on the second bullet, in what does he have to stop doing. There is a great book. The name of the book is What got you here won't get you there is from Marshall Goldsmith, and it's about a serious percent of behaviors on executives that they need to realize that it's not about doing something different or doing something else. It's many times it's about stop doing something that they, and in a certain point of their careers, they did something that they link that behavior to their success, and they believe that is what makes them successful as executives, and they continue with a behavior that is not longer valid. It's not longer something that will help them achieve higher levels in the organization. On the contrary, it might be something that is stopping her growth or his growth because those practices are not well received by the team members, or because without the executive being conscious of it, it's something that is preventing his better performance or his best performance. So that's an excellent book to enrich your tool set as a coach. I really recommend that book. And also the other element is what does have to change. And I believe that it's also very important to gain consciousness on what is that the executive is not willing to change. I like to make an analogy on the, somebody's asking here, the name of the author, the author of the book again is Marshall, M-A-R-S-H-A-L-L, Goldsmith, G-O-L-D-S-M-I-T-H, and the name of the book is What Got You Here Won't Get You There. So in the third point here, I was telling you, it's also important to help our client understand and gain consciousness of what he or she is not willing to change. And I like to use the analogy of a marriage here. When we are in a relationship with our wife or our husband, sometimes we need to negotiate behavior. Sometimes are things that we are expecting from the partner that are not happening, and we would like her to change or we would like him to change. And sometimes the other person is willing to work on a behavior that might change to create a better, to achieve the expectations of his partner or her partner. But sometimes he's not willing to, because that change is not, I mean, the reason for the change, the expectation from the other part is not stronger than the imbalance, the emotional imbalance that change will create in the individual. So maybe I'm not willing to change. Maybe, and I use the analogy of a marriage because it's easy to understand when we may tell to our partner, you know what, that I will not change. That's the way I am. You have to accept me that way. And then what needs to change is the way we communicate, and sometimes a minor thing, finding a middle ground or finding another way to communicate it or finding another way to act. But in all these cases, what it's important is that the client analyzes in the three key elements that are his thoughts, his language, and his actions. What are the best practices? What are the ideas or the language or the actions that I need to keep doing? What I need to stop? What do I need to change? What do I need to negotiate that I am not willing to change and need to be accepted the way it is, because we have to make it work that way. So to me, that's about purpose. And the next stage of the model, the third stage, is a plan. It's about how we help our clients to go higher, to go to a better version of themselves, to go to a higher level, to a best performance, to satisfaction and getting results and with our work as coaches. And for this section, I want you to share, again in one phrase, what do you think is the most important factor on help defining a plan for our clients? What is the most important factor on helping our clients define a good plan? Somebody asked me if the title of the book in Spanish is Un Nuevo Impulso. Actually, I don't know. I don't really know if the book is translated and what is the name in Spanish. Okay, the answers on this question, on the most important factor on helping define a plan, I'm getting here the objectives, the vision, reality, what have worked for them in the past, desired endpoint and a starting point, to connect with our great dream, desired time. Again, the name of the book is What Got You Here Won't Get You There. Other answers are reaching goals and self-enrichment, motivation, clear goals, achievable, goals, to know his objective and his characteristics, show him his advantage, sincerity, direction and motivation to go on, realistic. Okay, lots of good ideas and good phrases. Thank you. Let's move forward. And to me, the key element on the plan is that success reinforces behavior. What I want from my client, or what has worked for me best when I'm doing executive coaching, is I want my client to be successful with his plan. Because when he or she is successful on moving along with his action plan, that success is what reinforces the behavior. That success is what reinforces the new habits. And that success is what teaches the client to be more committed and have more conviction on his plan, on her plan. And for that, some of the tools that I get from my toolbox on working with good plans that ensure success for my client are the elements that I am presenting here. First, I like this idea of, before getting into the activities of the plan, working on a brainstorming. And a heavy brainstorming. And what I call a heavy brainstorming is have my client work on at least 10 ideas that will help her or help him to achieve his goal or her goal. I read once in a book, and I like that a lot, the idea that a brainstorming session, no matter what for, but a brainstorming session is like going to the gym and working with our body, lifting weights. When you have to work on lifting weights in a gym, usually you have to perform a series with a number of repetitions. Like, let's say you have to weigh 50 pounds with, make 2 series of 50 pounds with 10 repetitions each. And what happens when we are at the gym is that when we do the first, second, third, fourth repetition, it's more or less easy. But as we move forward, our muscles get tired, and we feel like we are lifting more weight, and lift the weight for the 7, 8, 9, or 10 time to finish the series is actually really difficult. The last repetition is really hard because we are working on getting strength or on getting resistance in our muscles, and it's very hard. So I like that analogy that I read once, and it's a great analogy on brainstorming. Because when we do a brainstorming session for whatever purpose, it's very easy to come very fast with some ideas, 3, 4, 5 different things that we can do to achieve a goal. But when we set ourselves the goal that my brainstorming should have at least 10 ideas, we are forcing our brain, as we force our muscles in the gym to create more ideas. And we need to start helping our client, okay, do a brainstorming with 10 ideas, and make sure that you have 10 ideas with questions as, what else could you do? What haven't you thought that you could do to solve this? Who else do you know that can help you with this? What other resources do you have? What other experiences you have in the past as some of you mentioned, that were successful that you can repeat? What are some skills that you have applied in other areas of your life that you can bring to this problem? So use a set of questions that help you create a more rich brainstorming and achieve the goal to find at least 10 ideas. And think about the gym, lifting weights in the gym. If you got to 10 ideas very easy, okay, then make a series of 15 or 20 or whatever is the number that will push you to get new, unexpected, innovative ideas. Because when we work with that is when we get from our client the aha moment or the click, or I have never thought about this before and this could be a great activity to achieve my goal. So I start with the brainstorming of 10 ideas because to me that's the raw material, that's the list of elements that we can use to create a good plan. Then we move forward to create a plan, and when we create a plan, then the second element for me is to work on detailed activities. And what I mean for detailed activities is that really split activities that seem very easy to even easier activities. Let me give you an example. If a client defines as a key activity that he has to do something to recognize the results of somebody in his team. Like let's say this client has in his team Philip working for him, and Philip is giving good results, but one of the things that he's not doing very good as a manager is praising those results. He's acknowledged that those were good results. And one of the activities in his plan to be a better manager could be recognize Phil on his good results. Well, that sounds like a simple activity to do, and that sounds like something that it's easy to do, but in practice, maybe if that is an activity on the plan, or maybe that's a homework for my client, 1 week later, he didn't do it. Because even when it sounds very easy, he didn't recognize Philip on his results. So when I talk about detailed activities, is that I can split something as simple as recognizing Phil on his results on 3 or 4 or 5 steps. Like maybe number 1, do a little list of things that I can do to recognize him. Maybe if one of the ideas is to give him a gift, okay, make a list of the different gifts that I could give him. Second, pick from that list what is the best way to acknowledge his results. Third, actually go to a store maybe and get the gift. And fourth, deliver the gift to Philip. So something that sounded simple, like recognizing Philip, can still be split, can be still more easier baby step activities, baby steps to make my client more successful on doing his homework or on achieving that activity, on performing that activity. Because when you split something that is simple in even more simpler steps, then you are helping your client to go step by step on the activity. And finally, the last element that I consider when working on ensuring success for my clients on their plans is realistic times. I always joke in my presentations and with my clients, and I always say, I have very bad news for you. Very, very bad news. You are slower than you think. Because we always schedule activities in an unrealistic way. We sometimes say, okay, I will do that, as that's one of my activities in my plan. I will do that, and I will take me 1 hour. It's not true. When you do it in practice, it takes you 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe 4 hours, because we are very optimistic in the speed that we have on performing activities. And usually we schedule less time than we need. And the result for that is that we are not able to do all the things that we plan to do in a given week. So to me, it's very important to work with our clients on make them aware that they shouldn't be so ambitious in the way they schedule activities in his time, because they are very busy because they are also priorities in the in day-to-day operation, and they have always urgencies and problems that they have to solve as part of their job, and it's not realistic that they will do everything that they want to do. Sometimes for this, you need to let them fail. Sometimes you need to. It's like with kids. We learn by experience. Sometimes somebody tells us a very good advice, but if we haven't suffered the consequences ourselves, we don't understand the concept. So sometimes we need at the beginning to let our client to plan as they want, and even when we know that there are too many activities that is unrealistic, sometimes we have to let them fall and see that they not produce the results, the homework was not achieved because it was too aggressive. It was a lot of things in a short period of time, and make them realize that they need to work with their time in a more realistic way. Now, the fourth stage of the model is what I call the accountability. And we know that that's a key element in coaching and in the results with our clients. And for accountability, which is actually get the results that we promised to do, let's get again your ideas and share your experiences on the best practices. What is the most important factor on accountability for our clients? As coaches, how can we help? What is the most important factor on accountability for our clients? I'm getting here ideas to set measures, the measurement, make sure it is important for the client, that it means something, commitment, good results, motivation, happiness, feedback, process, a strict follow-up measurements. I am accountable for satisfaction, self-esteem, depending on that he keeps motivated even when he doesn't achieve the plans as he developed to himself. So keeping motivated as they move even if they are not getting the results immediately. Honesty and commitment, values and well-defined goals. Okay, thank you all of those that are sharing their ideas. I'm getting a little bit more here. Ability to influence results. Two parties, coach can help hold them accountable. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for your participation. In accountability, to me, it's about failing, adjusting, and getting closer. Accountability is the ultimate result, is being able to provide the results that we promise. And to me here, I have heard from the coaching industry, from fellow coaches in the industry, I have heard two sides of the coin. When I was trained, when I was certified, I heard we don't want to become a psychologist. We don't want our client to see us every week for the rest of his life. We want our client to improve. We want him to get the tools. We want him to get the consciousness, the self-knowledge, and then work on his own. So we want to be not needed as a final purpose as a coach. And I have heard coaches share the same idea and opinion, and that's why we limit our interventions to 7 sessions, 10 sessions, as a way to have a process that we can complete with results, and then we are not needed anymore. We can have like a checkup every year or every half year, or only when our client is facing a huge roadblock or is coming back to behaviors that they don't want and they want help again from a coach, but not as a permanent thing. On the other side, I have heard colleagues in the industry mention that the reason coaching is a good profession and that we get paid a lot is because our clients are unable to get accountability by themselves. And as coaches, we help them to be accountable, and we are always necessary. I don't necessarily agree with this concept, but I believe that yes, we are a key element for accountability at the beginning or during the process, and we need to help our clients to get accountable by themselves. And to me, it's about this idea of failing, adjusting, and getting closer. We need to help our clients understand, first, as some of you mentioned here in your comments, that even if they are failing in the process, failure to me is, and I repeat this a lot in my presentations, failure is a key element of success. Because if I don't fail, I'm not getting feedback from the try. I'm not getting feedback from the attempt. Failure is a way to get information, and it's a way to get feedback on what didn't work and make the necessary adjustments to try again, and to try again, and to try again. And that's why it took Thomas Alva Edison 100 times to invent the light bulb. And he said that he never failed. He only found 100 ways not to invent the light bulb. To me is that he failed 100 times, but those 100 times were information and feedback to adjust and try again and get closer and closer until reaching the final result. So to me, that's a key element on building accountability. Sorry. And the elements I'm pulling from my toolbox to work on helping my client be more accountable is reminders, results, consequences, feedback, and learning. To share with you some ideas and practices that in my case have helped on helping my client. The first one is reminders. And reminders is going from I remind you to remind yourself to you don't need reminders. And what do I mean by this? At the initial stages of the process, I like to help my clients, reminding them that they have an activity coming or that they have something to do. And the reminder could be something as easy as a mail that I program in my Outlook to be sent out the day that he is committing to that activity. So if my client is going to do something on the 10th of the month, maybe I write an email that will be sent out. Just a gentle reminder, today is the day for you to do this activity. And I work from helping him a next stage where I ask them to start thinking on mechanisms in different ways to remind themselves that they need to perform an action or that they need to do some homework. And all the way to create new habits where finally a new behavior is adopted and they don't need a reminder. But this is something that it needs these phases, it needs these stages to move little by little. The other tool that I use is the results. And that could be something that send me the result. You have this activity scheduled, you need to do this homework, and I want to see the result. Maybe the activity is something related to your work. You will have to write a report or create an Excel file or prepare a presentation, something that is tangible that you can send my way. And it's not that I will review it because maybe I won't understand a word of what you did because I am not an expert in your industry, but it's a way to push you with a deadline and act a little bit as your boss and tell you, if you are committing yourself on the 10th of the month to prepare this, well, send it my way. I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see the report. Be accountable and send me the result. So that's another tool that sometimes I use. The other one is on on getting consequences, like when we are educating our children at home. Sometimes if you are not performing as expected, okay, what would be the consequence? You'll be grounded, or you will pay a fine, or let's place a bet. So when I'm working with executives, sometimes it works that as an additional tool to push for new behaviors or results is, let's place a bet on this, or let's negotiate what will be the fine, how much is going to cost you if you don't deliver on this. So you establish a mechanism, and the cost could be something just financial, or something like buy me lunch, or do this activity that you don't like so much. Some sort of, I don't like to call it a punishment, some sort of a consequence that you will have for not performing at the level that you set for yourself. And last, the most important to move the process forward is on feedback and learning. And on every attempt, on every try, even if you didn't deliver, or you didn't do your activity or do the homework, or you did it but it didn't bring the results that you were expecting, then work on the key questions that we always use as coaches at the end of something. Is, what did you learn in this attempt? What was the most important from this learning? And what will you do different the next time? What is the adjustment that you will do so your next attempt creates a different result? And when I have failed on working in this aspect with my clients, is when I get stuck on endless cycles of not moving, not getting the homework done, or not moving on the activities, because they keep trying the same way. Like, for example, they keep scheduling more that they can achieve in a week, or they keep doing things in the same way. And of course, as Albert Einstein once said, it's craziness to expect different results if you are doing the same things. So it's very important that this third element or fourth element on accountability is, before going to your next attempt, take the time to learn, what did you learn from this past attempt? What is what you need to modify? What you need to do different so you don't get the same results next time? And this is the way we help our clients to build accountability. Okay, then as a summary, what I present today is some best practices on executive coaching, tips on high impact coaching for executives. And what I did is I organized the process in 4 key elements: knowledge, purpose, plan, and accountability. And I present to you in each of these processes 3 or 4 elements, some of them best practices, some of them from our toolbox as coaches, some of them just ideas that help us to create a better success in our clients and move forward on whatever they want to achieve, on that best version of themselves that they are working on. And I want to finalize with a couple of slides. One on additional tools, what I call additional tools for the trade, is give variety to your process. It has worked for me on working with executives, work with different elements like, please read the article and tell me what you think. This article is related to the behavior that we want to change in you, or that you want to change. Or this article is related to the different results you want to get from your people. Or is related to delegation, or to accountability, or to commitment, whatever it is. So sometimes a reading that you can comment on, or sometimes writing a journal. I recently participated in a presentation in the Houston Coaches chapter in the ICF chapter in the Houston Coaches group here in Houston, when somebody presented a very detailed methodology on writing journals as an element to help our clients, and it's very, very useful, very powerful. Or watch that movie and let's discuss what you think of this character. Or act out of the comfort zone. Do something that is really uncomfortable for you, but that it will force new ideas or new behaviors. Or listen to some lyrics in a song and let's talk about it. Or talk to strangers. Find somebody that has already done what you want to achieve, and ask him how he did it or how she did it. What ideas you can pull from that, even if it's in a different industry or in a different environment. So give variety so you get some additional tools from your toolbox to help your client. And finally, you are doing all these to be successful with your client, to prove that coaching has a clear return on investment for the organization and for the companies investing on executive coaching. So don't forget to close the circle. And to me, close the circle is be very active with the people that is hiring you as a coach, that in corporations, in many instances, it's not the same people that is getting the coaching process, on reporting what is happening, on taking the picture, the before and after, and send the picture, the before and after of your client, on showing results, on sharing what is the feedback from third parties that are affected by these changes, or on sharing what is the client consciousness, the client learning on the process. So you are giving a clear return on investment to the organization, and you can ask, okay, who is next? What is the next executive that we can help with coaching and with this methodology? So those are my ideas for today. I hope that this has been helpful for you. I would love it if you use the chat box to share your perception of this webinar, if you like it or not, if it was bad, good, excellent, love it, not, what did you hate. That helps us a lot to improve in our next webinars. And as always, here is my contact information in the last slide. You can follow me. I have a page in Facebook where I share ideas, quotes, software tools, movies, altruistic ideas, non-profits as well. There are different things, and also events that I have sometimes in Houston, sometimes in Mexico. This is my Twitter account. It was Life and Spirit. I switched to the ICS Coach. I changed recently my domain from Impact Coaching Solutions to icscoach.com to make it shorter. But still, if you go to Impact Coaching Solutions, that site is directed. This site, ICS Coach, is directed to the Impact Coaching Solutions website. You have also my LinkedIn account, and in the LinkedIn account, sometimes I have an application that is called Box, and you can find some articles and some documents that you can download from my LinkedIn profile. And there is my email. If you want to send me an email with ideas, whatever you want to share, I'm happy to work with you. And finally, my two websites, Guillermo Mendoza Coaching is my blog. It's where I post articles in Spanish and English on personal growth, on business development, and the website for my company in Houston, icscoach.com. Thank you all for participating. We had more than 60 participants from all over the world, and I'm very happy to provide this ongoing online continuous education for the international coaching community. I don't know if Alejandro wants to share some last comments.
Guillermo, well, nothing more to say than a big thanks for this enlightening hour, and for offering again your presence and time to help us as coaches to be better every day. And also a big thanks for all that were present today. Some of them on the middle of the day. It took an hour to work in coaching, so thanks for that too. And just to remind that after you close the webinar, there will be a short survey. This will help us, as Guillermo said, to be even better every time. So if you have a few seconds, we really appreciate if you can leave your feedback there. So this is it from my side. We are going to publish the webinar on the ACC website, so you can watch it again if you want.
Thank you, Alejandro. Thank you, everybody, and hope to see you next time.
See you soon. Take care. Bye.